A flight from Kansas City to Phoenix took an unexpected turn when a passenger repeatedly flicked a lighter on board and refused to surrender it to the crew, forcing the pilot to declare an emergency and divert the aircraft. For most of the flight, everything seemed to be running smoothly, until passengers noticed a man in the cabin repeatedly striking a lighter. At first, it may have seemed like an odd but harmless habit, but with a plane's confined space, flammable materials, and limited options for dealing with fire at altitude, open flames are a serious risk. Flight attendants quickly intervened, instructing the passenger to put the lighter away, but instead of complying, he refused, continually flicking the lighter. Crew members made multiple attempts to de-escalate the situation, but the man continued to flick the lighter, creating a tense standoff in the cabin. That's when the pilot took matters into his own hands.
Get the lighter back and get to Phoenix, but at this point in time, if you do not give up the lighter, I will divert the aircraft to Denver.
Over the intercom, he issued a direct warning. "This is your last chance. I will divert the aircraft." But even that didn't work. With passenger and crew safety at stake, the decision was made to declare an emergency and reroute the flight to the nearest airport. When the plane landed, law enforcement boarded the aircraft and removed the passenger, who was reportedly taken to a hospital for evaluation. The flight was eventually cleared to continue to Phoenix after the delay. So why is this such a big deal? To most people, a single lighter might not seem like much of a threat. After all, many passengers carry them on flights, whether for cigarettes, candles, or camping gear, for example. In fact, the TSA allows travelers to bring one disposable or Zippo-style lighter in their carry-on bag or pocket, but lighting it inside the cabin, well, that's a completely different story. Open flames on board pose an obvious fire hazard, especially with the mix of oxygen, fuel vapors, and synthetic materials that could be in the cabin. A small fire could spread quickly, and even just the smell of smoke could send passengers into a panic. Given the limited firefighting resources on an aircraft, airlines have strict policies to prevent any risk of fire from starting in the first place. This is why in-flight smoking bans are so strictly enforced. And it's not just cigarettes and lighters. Airlines have also had to deal with fires caused by lithium-ion batteries, vapes, and even malfunctioning electronics. In September 2024, an EasyJet flight from Greece to London Gatwick had to be evacuated on the tarmac when a vape device exploded inside the passenger's carry-on. Smoke filled the cabin just before takeoff, forcing all 236 passengers to evacuate using emergency slides. While no one was seriously hurt, the incident caused major disruptions and delays. Lithium-ion battery fires are becoming an increasing concern for airlines. In recent years, there have been several cases of electronic devices catching fire mid-flight, including a notorious 2016 incident where a Samsung Galaxy Note 7 phone started smoking in a passenger's pocket, leading to an emergency landing. With so many past incidents, airlines have been doubling down on safety measures, requiring that battery-powered devices like power banks and laptops be stored in carry-on bags rather than checked luggage where a fire could go undetected. When an incident like this happens, the decision to divert a flight isn't taken lightly. In most cases, pilots will try and resolve issues in the air to avoid costly and disruptive emergency landings. But when there's a potential safety threat, whether it's a medical emergency, an unruly passenger, or a fire hazard, diverting is often the safest choice. Once the decision is made, air traffic control works with the airline to find the nearest suitable airport for landing. The flight crew alerts passengers, and on the ground, emergency services are put on standby. For passengers, a diversion can mean long delays, missed connections, and hours spent waiting at an unexpected airport. For airlines, it can mean thousands of dollars in additional fuel costs, crew overtime, and logistical headaches. And for the passenger responsible, in many cases, they'll face arrest, fines, or even a permanent ban from flying with the airline. Most passengers don't go into a flight expecting to be part of an emergency landing, but situations like this show how unpredictable air travel can be. Incidents like this raise questions about how airlines can better prevent these kinds of disruptions. Should there be stricter screening for passengers carrying lighters? Should there be harsher penalties for those who ignore crew instructions? Or is it just a matter of more awareness and education? As more travellers take to the skies, keeping flights smooth and uneventful is a shared responsibility between airlines, crews, and passengers. In the end, it's a reminder that even small choices can have a big ripple effect on a flight. Maybe the real takeaway is that when you're on a plane, it's always best to listen to the crew and leave the fire starting for a backyard barbecue. If you found this video informative, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you have a question or an observation. Thanks so much for watching, take it easy, and we'll see you in the next one.